Hey guys, we're here with 15 underrated Minecraft mods for 1.20.1 for Forge and Fabric. Let's get to it. So the first mod we're going to be looking at is called Stained Lenses. With this mod, obviously the starting key that you use to like open the spyglass is A, but I switched to N because it conflicts with my other things. But you get this thing right here, and you put that pouch, so then you have like a bunch of like storage, so you can just like store stuff right here. But you get like these attachments that you can actually put on your spyglass, so your spyglass is not as useless. So I'll be putting these two on there. Oh, so with these attachments, I can see a bit farther, and also it tells me if there's mobs through walls. So with this next mod, it's called Gauntlets, and with this mod, it adds 4 different types of gauntlets that you make like so. But with these gauntlets, I can put this in my offhand, like so. And if I attack something, so this mod, I could actually use both. Like, basically like dual wielding gauntlets. So if I go... So if I have a sword, this nether sword right here, I can just like hit it regularly and just keep attacking it. So the next mod we're going to be looking at is called Armor Tips. And with this mod, it adds the ability to see what you're wearing. So if I have this on, it shows me that I have the turtle helmet. So I can do that. It also tells me if I hover over something else that what I look like with that on. So I can have like diamond chestplate, then it shows me that, and it just shows whatever armor piece would look like on you. If you have any modded armor or something like that, you can even use it with that. Next mod we're gonna be looking at is called gems and things, and with this mod it adds 4 different types of crystals. If you shift and right click on these things, then you can turn all your gems into like clean gems. And with these, you turn each gem into its own totem. So you can turn this into a totem like this, and you can also turn it into a weapon or a shield. So then you can do the same thing with this one. You can make it into a totem right there, a crown, another weapon or tool, and you can do that with this one, a tool, crown, that. And it just adds its own like variety, and plus it adds heavy barrels that are also like chests that you just store your stuff in. So the next mod we're going to be looking at is called Collector's Caravan. And with the mod, it adds 6 different types of creatures that are basically like bug type. That it tells you where you find tells you how you find them if you have like the beetle, and then you can also trade with this guy to get different items or like different types of emeralds. Plus there's a ton of different items and stuff like that, and each one has a bit of info about it, but it's basically just a collecting mod if you really want to collect stuff. With this mod, you'll find a structure, and with the structure, you find a desert, of course, but with the structure, you can find a Chull egg and maybe some seeds. So with this Chull right here, you hatch it, and it will hatch into one of these guys. And then eventually, metamorphosis, it'll turn into a cocoon. And with that cocoon, it turns into this guy. So with this guy, you can actually put a saddle on him and ride him. And you use this stick to make him go faster, but if you don't, you go a bit slower. Someone else, if you're like off him and you shift right click, you actually get a giant storage with this guy. So the next mod we're going to be looking at is called A Use for Copper. And with this mod, it adds a really cool armor set with its very own tools that you can obviously craft copper. But it definitely looks better than any other copper armor mod I've seen, because it adds like the actual like oxidization. So like it looks a lot nicer, and actually has like the green parts on each one, and it does it on the armor piece and so forth, and it looks really cool. So with this next mod, it's called Craftable Discs actually. And with this mod, you have this ink paste right here, and you put it with bamboo, and you put it with a dye of your choice. You get different ones. So with this ink pot right here, you make like so, and it's only a one-time use. So with it, I'll just put that there, I'll put blue dye, got a different one. This right here, got that one. But so with this, you use this empty disc, and you put an iron rod, which you might like an iron disc, but I'll put this one in there, and you can actually make music discs like this. So if you don't want to explore and try to find music discs, You can make each one of them with their own dye. The next mod we're gonna be looking at is called Farmer's Friend, and with this mod it adds a bunch of different things that you can make with seeds or some other foods like potatoes, some beetroots, sugarcane, some melon seeds, and some pumpkin seeds. They're basically just some things of crops. The next mod we're going to be looking at is called Smoking Stuff. Personally, I wouldn't recommend smoking. So with this mod, it adds a bunch of different types of smoking stuff, that cigarettes and stuff like that. But with this mod, it's in my hand and each one gives different effects. So if I have this one, depending on how long I hold it, it'll give me an effect for longer. So if I hold it the whole time, I guess you do get nauseous, but then I get invisibility. So don't smoke too long, of course. But if you hold it for a bit, I'll hold it for like 2 seconds like that. Get it for 2 minutes. So with like strength, if I like just click it for a second, I get it for like a couple seconds. So if I need like a little strength boost, then I can just use that. And there's like night vision. And then there's just a bunch of other stuff. So you make it with this stuff, which you use a magic grinder. You use dried magic leaves, which you use from smelting magical herbs that you grow from these magical seeds. The next mod we're going to be looking at is called XP in a jar, and with XP in a jar, you make this jar with like any local slab and some glass. But with it, you could actually have XP in a jar like this. But if you just right-click on it, it puts 5 levels in it, 3 levels in it. The next mod we're going to be looking at is called Tide. It's a bit of a bigger mod. It has like 200,000 downloads, but with this mod, you make this thing right here. And so with this thing, you use one of your mini fishing rods that are in this mod. I'll use the diamond one. So with the diamond one, you put all 3 of your upgrades. They'll help it make it better. So with the bait right here, takes a bit to make. I guess not too much to make, but with it, you pick it up and then you right click on the fishing rod of your choice. So then I have like 3 baits in there, and so with it, I hold it for however long I want, will mean the farther it goes. When I catch a fish, it does this, and then it, depending on where I landed on the thing, it depends on how good the fish is. You can even do it in the nether and like all sorts of other places. And it has some really cool animations and like ways that you can fish. So the reason I did Tide is because it helps with another mod I have. So there's not Farmer's Delight, but there's something called Tide's Delight, and it's basically adds more food for Tide. So if I put that on there, I can cut it up, and with it I can cook it and make it into cooked fish slice. I can do that with most other fishes. So something else you could do, you could put cheese, tomato, bread, and a grouper, and you get a grouper burger. There's just a bunch of other types of foods you can have. The next mod we have is a really interesting one. It adds these 2 things that you make like so, but with these you can place it down to summon like an inventory that I can't put these in there, but it adds a chest. And if I want to pick it up, I have to hit it, and if I hit it, it'll drop all the loot and all the stuff in it. But if you don't want it, because like he automatically just follows you around wherever you go, so like no matter where you go, he'll follow you. So that's why people sometimes like pick it up. But it also adds a different type, so it adds a green one that looks pretty cool too, and it also has its own storage and stuff like that. The next mod we're gonna be looking at is called Tenebrus Baubles, and with this one, it's basically similar to Bountiful Baubles with a couple things. It adds a couple things that are the same, that have better textures, and then it adds its own things as well. So some of the things that it adds, this one, each one of these you can put in the Babble slot, but they forgot to put it, I think. Some of them it says cured, but you can wear that. This one negates all like bad effects, but it's really hard to make. You make it like this, and make another star with these templates, and it's just a full recipe thing. And this thing uses this thing, which takes any babble with this. So like, it's really a lot to make, but it definitely is a pretty nice babble mod. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want the information on the mods, they're in the description, and I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next video.